This week I'm on fucking roll as far as
You are, dude.
Dude, I am like, dude, I'm at like 17,000 hits in the week. Like already. Like, dude, I think I'm just gonna take all of February off. Like,
that's insanity, dude.
I live for when the market acts like this. Like,
yeah,
like it's like once a month for a week.
Dude,
it like goes crazy. Fucking nuts, dude. The short trade on gold today, right? Dude, it just fucking ripped, dude. I was in it for 30 minutes, 2 positions, 3 lots each. Fucking
I saw that.
200 pips. Bam, done. Earlier this week, dude, Monday with the fucking wild.
All right, dude, let's do it.
All right, cool. Welcome to Inside a Trader's Mind. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm here with Sammy.
Woo! In the mind.
In the mind. All right, so today we are going to talk about red news, high impact news, and how it affects the market and your trading.
Man, red news, dude.
Dude, red news is wild. Like, can we talk about before we go into anything, how red news has fucked me so much in the past?
Yeah. Do it, dude.
Dude, I get fucking, there's so many times, like, you have told me, don't trade red news, dude. Don't trade red news.
If you do that, you're like a child at a stove.
Dude, right? And
burn you.
Like every time. And I think we're actually going to go over a little bit today, but like how the stop hunting and how it takes you out. Like, dude, I've been taken out by stop hunts so many fucking times, like for double, even triple what the stop loss was.
Yeah. It'll blow you.
I get destroyed, dude. It blows you, not in a good way.
Not in a good way. It's horrible. It's horrible,
dude. It's awful, man. It was like,
what's funny about what you're saying right now is a lot of new traders, and I fell victim to it. My first 6 months trading, I subscribed to some bot that could predict the news and AI, and this is like in 2010.
Yeah.
And there was it really had green light, red light on all your charts when the news hit. And I remember sitting there and entering trade, and then the light would change colors 2 minutes in, and I'd be down 50 pips, and I'm like, oh man, no, and I was like, oh, I think, and I was live, big, full lots and
man,
crazy
dude,
stuff.
down 50 pips on one lot, dude. It's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's $500, man. But
in seconds,
you got, but here's the funniest part about it is, this is the shitter about something like a trader's mind. You want that to work so bad, you're going to figure it out. But what you don't you don't even realize sometimes the technology or the claims and misinformation behind a tool like what I fell sucker for, right?
Yeah.
Well, the red light, green light for the red news. I'm like, I'm going to master this and make millions,
Dude, I know. Yeah, you always get that little glimmer of hope, I can make this work, dude. There's so much misinformation out there and
totally
things that just don't work. It's tough out there for new forex traders. It's wild, man.
It is. It's because our inside our mind, we're emotional about money. That's the biggest thing, right?
Right. It's like that when you make that switch to logical, you can find
dude. And that's what today, we're gonna jump into that. Really trading red news. One of 5 things we always talk about: guesswork, hard work, and framework. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you could frame the red news, it's not hard. It's actually easy, right? You're not easy guessing, but you got to put a little work in to kind of learn these frames, right? So if you break it down and you say there's 5 frames, so you have a 20% chance that one of these events is, and one of these will happen 100%, right? Because there's no other frame. There's 5 things that can happen. We're going to go through them in a minute.
Yeah.
But when you can sit there and you can look at it and say, oh, that's happening, you can act because you know what's happening, right? That's why it's an item on our checklist, right? To protect you.
Absolutely,
even if you don't listen to it.
I promise I listen now to it 90% of the time. I haven't been taken out of a red news stop hunt in a while, so I'm doing pretty good. So I mean,
pain and trauma will make you change.
Oh, that is true. I couldn't speak truer words. So I mean, on occasions, this red news is actually a good thing. It will help push the pattern in the direction you want. It will help with that first burst or that first push that you get to kind of give you that breakout and then break into the pattern, or it'll show you in the trend. which is pretty cool. But it is, like we just talked about, extremely dangerous if you're in it at the wrong time.
Yeah. So well, let's jump in. I'll share some slides.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody's watching on YouTube, you guys will be able to see this on the slides. If you got, if you can pause it and stop and, write it down. If you're listening on Spotify, guys, grab a pencil. This is going to be super important for you to know when it's going to help impact your trading in a positive way. So we'll go for it.
You can see the screen, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So basically, I just go to like Forex Factory and I just pull up their calendar like every Sunday. I post it all over the place, but really what it all boils down to is there's yellow news, orange news, but the red news is typically like these giant like government announcements about monetary policy or bank announcements, right? These monetary policy is like what drives currency, right? It's Forex, right? It's foreign exchange. So, you can tell, and what time of day it's happening is like what's really critical, because that's how you can stay in and out of the market at the correct times. And this removes like, just today there was the FOMC news or there was the CAD news, but like,
CAD had like a ton of red news today, like, and gave you some crazy news bars today.
Crazy bars. But this is, if you know to stay away, you're ahead of the game, man. You're not going to like lose. Now we're going to jump into the frame. So this is just what it is. I don't even care about the results. And I'll tell you why is I have seen good news, right? Quote unquote, great news. We're better than forecast. And the damn currency falls like crazy, right?
How many times have you seen that? I know.
So your method or your bias trumps. Your patterns win every time over the red news. The red news is a tool that's used to complete things. So we're going to go into the 5 frames really quick. All right. The first frame is the setup. And for people that like don't, trade with us, the setup is basically something, it's part of a structure. So we trade single tops and double tops or single bottoms and double bottoms. And in order to make one of those patterns happen, we call it a setup. And what it is if you're in a trend move, the setup is the counter trend to what you're trading, right? It's counter trend to the direction. Yeah. And what that, in this example, you could see right here on your screen, like the setup is the first leg of a double top. And you can see this giant, I have a big pink arrow pointing down to this giant ass candle that's going against the move to the left. And to the layperson, like that just looks like a crazy random candle. But if you were trying to still short the move to the left, you would have got really hurt by this candle, but it doesn't make any sense. There's no context. So you have to wait. Well, look what it does the next period. It comes back, price comes back and retests not only that candle, but the Fibonacci level and the moving average. And then the trade rolls over and goes the same direction as the previous part of the trend, right? You can see our bias where 15 or 200 are pointing short. The setup candle is my favorite because
mine too,
I know all I got to do is wait. I just got to wait. And it's going to, we're doing something, or it's going to reverse and go completely out of this place and go long from here. But if it does that, it's going to be a breakout or a burst one. I'm going to wait for the setup code, when there's no red news. Okay. So that's frame 1. And I would say this is probably one I see the most. Like I see just crazy random big old candles, right? Next frame is the pattern. That's the actual pattern that we're trading, right? So this would be when a candle is used to complete the pattern that you're expecting, right? So in this case, you can see the red news bar is this giant railroad track. It formed the actual railroad track, thus completing a single top pattern to short, right? It came up, retested that price, hit that the 50 moving average, and just rolls back over. You can see over to the left, there's kind of a giant anchor point and a burst. And then those railroad tracks, once that candle closes, you never want to enter a news trade mid-candle, right? Because it'll whip up and down and all over the place. But once that candle closes, you can see you can rip right through and pick up, the rest of your pips. This could be a shift bar on a double top pattern or a double bottom pattern. This could be, you know, going the other way. This could be a green bar if this was reversed and we were going long. The key is now, so you've got your first frame, that's your setup. And your second frame is your patterns. This is my other favorite one. The next one is the stop hunt. And this is where Kyle gets got. So you can see on this chart. You can see this time. Yeah, you can see this chart, right, Kyle?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this chart basically, it's throwing like a little, right before you see that giant pin where I put FOMC, that's an FOMC bar, and it's just a giant wick. And you can see there was railroad tracks at the low of day, a single bottom, to go long. So a bunch of traders were like, oh, I'm going to front run that FOMC and I'm going to go long out of here, baby. Well, guess what? Your brokers, all the institutions, they all know the order flow. They all know that they suckered you into that.
Oh, yeah.
And what did they do? They came in and
knocked everybody out.
Knocked everybody out. And on top of it, if they flash a gap in the spread, once they come bring price down to there, you're really going to get slipped, right? That's what you got.
I think we actually mentioned that on one of the episodes, but gold. I was in the gold trade and they flashed this like 50 pip candle. Like it was literally like if you blinked, you would have missed it. Yeah. And it just flashed on the screen. All of a sudden, like I'm out like minus 80 pips instead of 20 pips, my stop loss. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it's horrible, man. But I also like the stop hunt, because basically once that candle closes, you know the trend's continuing. They're not
like that around. That's like one of the best ones. My favorite one perfectly is my favorite one is the pattern candle when the news throws the confirmation candle for the pattern. Yeah. But I love this one too because especially if you're coming off like in the like look at the way the chart's set up. For those of you guys can't see it, it has the 800 moving average. And before I have talked about the 800 moving average being a barrier. If this thing comes down and leaves a giant wick on the 800 moving average, the trend is going to continue up. Yeah. So it's perfect setup for this one.
Totally. So you got 3 frames now. We've got a setup, and then we've got the actual confirmation or shift bar, and now we got a stop hunt. So I would say even if you just knew to look for those 3 things, you're way ahead of the game. Right? Oh, yeah. Now, the fourth one is the continuation bar, and this is my least favorite one.
Yeah, I know this one. You never really know when to get into this one.
Well, and this is the problem with it is really the continuation is like this example is consumer confidence. The pattern happened. It's set up perfect. You can enter this trade way back, like, an hour and a half prior to the news.
Right.
And all it is a giant bar continuing your awesome setup and pattern that you probably missed. And it's like, It's just such a kick in the stomach because you knew you were right. And this is like where you get burned. Oh, I know I'm right. You are right. The thing is, you don't know. This could have easily been a stop hunt, but there you go. You got to let it sit, and that giant bar passes you by. Your head goes in your hand, but you know what? You lived another day without losing your ass.
That's 100% true. I mean, one of the things so this particular frame here, the continuation example, this was the one that hurt the most because when I first starting out, you get this FOMO, right?
That's it.
You're like, oh man, I fucking missed out on this. But the one thing they'll always remember, if anyone takes anything away from this, is there's always another trade. There's always going to be another day where there's another trade that's going to be even better than this one. So don't worry too much about it.
And not for nothing, Kyle, but listen, let me just, you showed me your terminal, so I know you're not bullshitting, but tell everybody this week how many pips you've made. Just this week.
It's over 17,000 pips this week.
17,000 pips. 17,000. And I've seen the dollars, and you showed me the account. I'm like, okay, dude.
Fucking insane, dude.
Insane. And this is what's crazy about this is it was just your birthday yesterday, and literally this was your birthday present 2 years ago as we sat down.
Dude, isn't that wild?
2 years.
2 years ago, now I'm has it been 2 years or 3 years?
2 years, yeah.
No, 2019. It's 2022.
Nope, 2020, January 2020.
Oh, it was 20. Yeah, okay. My years are fucked up. But anyway, yeah, you're right. 2 years ago, dude, I didn't know what I was doing. Now I'm ripping indices.
Right?
Like no one's fucking business, dude.
It's insane.
That's fucking crazy.
So there's the fourth frame, and then the fifth frame is really interesting, and it's all right. There's just no effect. Like the candle's just a regular average Joe candle, right in the middle of the move, or maybe it's like
this one. I think usually happens. This one usually happens like late in the day. If you got news that's like at 11:30 or like 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's when I usually see this no effect happen. Like it just doesn't really do anything.
That one I just because you're not really in the trade because you don't want to get stop hunted. I guess for me, the biggest thing is like, I've been stop hunted enough that like, I can't deal with it. I don't want to lose any money that I don't need to.
I hear you. Like I'm so done with losses. Like I don't want to have any of those.
And so there's the 5 frames, right? So we've got the setup, we've got the confirmation or the pattern, right? Then we've got the stop hunt. And then we've got the continuation, which is just the ripper. And then we've got no effect. 20%, right? That's your odds on top of your methodology. So your probability, right? Everything starts with the probability of a 50-50. That's your guesswork. That's the coin flip. That's gambling. That's blackjack. That's craps and all that.
Right.
This is framing events. So if you know those frames, you can just sit back, let it happen. It's either going to be one of those 5 things occurring, and you can take action or no action, depending on. That's why we love the stop hunt. That's why we love the confirmation candle. And this, like the setup is like my other favorite one too, but like those are my top 3. Like the continuation, I'm just crying like in my milk, right? Because it's like, oh man, dude, that's blown opportunity.
I know, I hate that one. I'm like,
whatever,
oh man, what did I do?
But anyway, so there's 5 frames of red news. Hit the travelingtraderpro.com, book your call.
Yeah, you can also make 17,000 pips. Yeah. No, but I guess I'll actually leave with this. So like the rule of thumb, right, that I think that you taught me that we have about red news is stay out of the trade 15 minutes before and or 15 minutes after. Is that normal? That's normally what we say, like rule of thumb, like something like that. That way you're safe enough. Totally. You can avoid any stop hunting or any crazy stuff like that.
Yeah. And the news has been really mellow compared to like when I started trading back in like QE, like, I mean, the world was in a like pretty big slump economically, or, that was, 2010, we were just like on the backside of, well, it was still pretty bad in terms of like, we were printing money like crazy. So those FOMC announcements, I mean, a couple 100 pip bars, was 100 pip stop hunts were, that ain't even funny, that was real.
That was like almost like the 2020 news, like back in like March, the major shutdown. Remember how volatile the market was, dude? Like these pairs that like currency pairs that move like normally like 50 pips a day were moving like 200 a day.
Oh yeah. I remember your pound Aus trades were like in a beautiful lightning bolt.
It was insane. 200,
300 pips, man.
Easy. Like I would be in it for like, but it wasn't like I was in those trades like for a long time. I was in the trades for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It would rip up like 200 pips and then come right back down. It's crazy volatility.
Yeah.
I do miss that.
Yeah, I know, man. That's when it's easy, right?
I know, right?
Right on, dude.
All right, cool. So we'll wrap it up here, guys. Cool. If you are listening on Spotify, please follow and rate us so you don't miss an episode and we can get this in front of more people. You can follow me on Instagram at That's Mr. Doherty to you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify, it's Traveling Trader Pro, and the link is below here in this video. And guys, if you want to make 16,000 pips, you can contact me for a free strategy session at travelingtraderpro.com. But realistically, the day was Monday, January 24th. You can actually look it up on your charts and you can see the patterns that we use and how all of the trends mimic each other. It was SPX 500, NAS 100, and US 30 all mirrored each other on the charts. So take a look at those and you can learn to do stuff like that. and I highly encourage it. All right, until next time.
Until next time, in our mind.